Hello, so welcome to this video for COMP3218 Game Design and Development at the University of Southampton. My name's Dave Millard, I'm one of the lecturers on the course, and I'm here with...
Ioan Daniel Malinov, a research fellow at the university helping Dave.
Brilliant. Ioan, would you mind saying a little bit about what we asked the students to do for this coursework?
Yeah, of course. So you ask them to create a narrative game with a non-linear narrative where the game affects the story and the story affects the game world. And they had to choose between 3 different short stories to base the game on.
So all Aesop's fables, so it'll be interesting to see what they've come up with. Right,
Yeah.
let's have a look at our first game. So our first game is called The Truth.
Name.
Here we go. Oh, there we are. So I like the title screen. It's a shame these are white. Oh, there's a play there. That's good. I was wondering how I actually got to play it. Secrets, controls. So if I click on, I guess, controls. Okay, so...
normal movement.
Normal.
Space.
Let's see, collect items, jump space, slow fall space, dash in the air, shift. Collect item E, open inventory, tab. Right, okay. I'm not going to remember that, so I hope they will teach me as we go. So, alright, select mouse 1. Okay, so the key things are space to do stuff. Collect items. With E, right. Secrets. I have not got any secrets.
Oh, okay.
Let's play. This game does not include a save feature. Closing or exiting the game will lose all progress. Okay. That might mean we don't get to see the end of the game, right? But we'll see. Right. Oh, press space to skip cutscene.
Now.
Oh, here we come. I like the line. Oh, blimey! You went for it.
Alexander, just finishing up some chores. Did you have a good trip?
Was that Mark leaving?
No, it was just the postman delivering a late package.
Okay, fine. I'm going to go freshen up.
Interesting choice of voice acting. So we just discovered some infidelity. The next day.
Sophia, where are you?
Oh.
What's this?
I know things seem rough right now. Please meet me at the old forest clearing. There's so much I can't explain over the phone.
Okay.
Until then, my love.
Oh.
What now, Mark? Whoa, easy, buddy. Just wanted to say your wife looked lovely last night. Real charmer, that one. You know, some exits deserve a standing ovation.
Right.
Some friend he is. I should go and find Sophia.
Right. Wow. So this is not what I was expecting. A kind of relationship drama. Sophia is obviously our girlfriend or partner, and we're a bit suspicious something's going on with her and Mark, and she's left us not quite a Dear John letter, but kind of getting there. I'm appear to be ready for a fight. I'm not entirely sure why. Tab to view inventory. Oh, there we go. Find me. That's lovely. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Sophia. Oh, okay, Mark. You don't see a word that left a real charm. Oh, okay. How do I exit?
Up maybe.
Oh, tab. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Nice. Really intriguing start. So let's go this way. Oh yeah, I forgot my jump. So it looks like there's only one way to go, possibly. Oh, well, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting.
Okay.
Does that mean I can just walk? No, I can't. So how come I can walk behind that one but not that one? It's a bit strange. Ooh. Let's try getting over there and see where we get to. Yeah, I don't think I've had any choices yet, have I? I kind of...
Yep, no.
There's a river, so I presume I jump in there. If I fall in the river, do you think I'm going to die? Oh, yes, but I came back to life straight away. I tested my own theory. I've tested it twice now, I don't need to test it again.
3 times.
Just... I think there's a slight delay on the jump. That's what's putting me off. Here we go. Yeah, there is just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Oh, phone. Oh, I like the little...
Romeo, heard you're heading to the woods. Remember, time is of the essence, right? And hey, that giant oak over there? Shortcut. Saves you hours, trust me. Climb that ladder to your lady love.
So there's a choice. So
Yeah, I think.
So this is the giant oak, which I presumably can climb.
Oh yeah, that.
And that's a shortcut to my lady love. So do I trust? Is that Mark?
The forest knows our secrets. Whispers in the leaves. Follow the trees. They'll lead you to me.
Okay.
Our bond be your compass.
So.
Before whispers turn to screams.
So okay. So do I follow Mark and take the shortcut, or do I go through the forest and follow Sophia? I think that was again.
Yeah, I think.
So we can look at Sophia. Don't take yes. The forest knows our secrets whispered in the leaves. So I guess we go through the forest, shall we?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
It's a sensible route to go. Okay. Forest. Hold space for slow fall.
That's good that they also mention it in the.
So is this is it going up here, the forest? I don't know. Okay, so I can also use that to jump a bit further, basically.
Oh, what was? Oh, there's water.
There's water there. Okay. So that's a bit blind, isn't it? You can't see what's down there. So that's a shame. So I don't...
You could probably jump on the lower leaf to see.
To see, yeah. Oh, what's that? E.
Remember this. The dress was really expensive. At least it looked good.
The dress was really expensive, but at least it looked good. There's some nice voice acting going on. I wonder where that's come from. Because those are American accents.
I think it's probably AI generated, actually.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a.
So I did get another. Is that another message? Oh, receipt. What was the receipt? Hardy Ames.
That's about the dress, I think.
Got you. Okay. Oh, there's something else. What's that?
Say, don't fall in the mud. Thanks for the advice, Captain Obvious.
Don't fall in the mud. Oop. Yeah.
Yeah, at least it puts you back immediately.
Yeah, I was worried it would be like right back to scene 1.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Alright, so we're still exploring. I'm still struggling a little bit with what's foreground and what's background. Oh,
Just checking in, Romeo. So you decided to take the scenic route. How's the mud treating you?
My feet are fine. Thanks for asking. How'd you know where I am?
Fred,
Mark
nah,
knows
I
something,
know
or
what
he's
you're
just
thinking
taunting me.
about. Say the wind's picking up. I reckon you could be carried by it straight to your Juliet. But you better hurry. Girls like that don't like to be kept waiting.
You watch yourself, Mark.
I reckon he's just taunting me. I wonder what that choice does. It's not obvious. Press shift to dash.
Oh, I see. Oh.
I don't actually have a clue how to do this. So I think the problem is that I've not been. So I can dash in. Oops. So I can dash in the air.
Yeah.
But I can also press shift to. So I'm not quite sure.
Or you hold space to float.
Yeah, but what my. There we go. It's a bit weird having those two things. They're very similar abilities, and it's not entirely clear. Oops. Which is the? Oh, it's that stupid jump again. Right, here we go. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah. So I am finding the controls difficult, as you can tell, and I thought it was because there's a delay on the jump, but it's also not jumping. You can probably hear me rapping the space bar in frustration. But like there, I press the space bar, it doesn't do anything. It does there. Okay. We're just trying to go too fast. What's down there? That's all mud. Ooh.
Oh.
E.
Sophia sent this to me when she went away. She never said where she went.
Why didn't she tell me where she went? Or she could have invited me. She couldn't have invited me to this? I don't understand that.
Oh.
So these options are kind of interesting because we had the option about which way to go, and that was clearly a choice. You know, go up the tree or don't. These are kind of they're kind of like describing my reaction to what's going on, and it's not clear what I'm choosing.
I guess it's, do you think more negatively or positively towards her?
Yeah, so it could be a cumulative choice, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh no. Come on. Oh, jump. Oops. These blind jumps are really annoying, actually. I wish I could see where I'm going. Now, it's the gameplay is all about negotiating the obstacles, and there are elements of it that work really well. Oh, that's interesting. Put it back up there. But the two things that are problematic are that the jump feels a bit sticky, so it doesn't jump instantly. And the second thing is that I keep having to make blind jumps, which is a bit frustrating. But
Leap, my love. The forest cradles those who trust. The other side awaits.
All right, for you, Sophia.
she wants me to believe in us. Yeah, okay. So you're right. I'm continually making these choices. Oh, made it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, there's lots of stuff going on in there. Hello? How do I get...
Why has Mark taken out a life insurance in my name? Property deed, signed under duress by Sophia. Have we been robbed? What's going on here? Those two have some explaining to do.
Oh dear, they've taken out life insurance in my name. That's bad. What's that?
Looks like some scrappy paper. Looks like Mark's handwriting.
Can I see the scrappy bit of paper?
Oh. Get her charm.
Try to convince her to disappear. Offshore account rendezvous at. I like this little interface here and the summary of the conversations.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's really cute, and this here as well. It's really nicely done. The okay. Am I going to die? Yes. Yeah, like getting through that hole shouldn't be hard, right? But it is impossible.
It's the Unity sticky.
Yeah, it's that old chestnut, isn't it? Oh, crikey. Yeah, this is very odd. So part of me quite enjoys the challenge, and part of me I just wish about 50% of the time I'm dying, and I feel like it's not my fault.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it clearly is my fault. Like there, for example, that was me. But the rest of it, a lot of the time, it's just not responding, or not, like there, for example, that wasn't my fault. I pressed the space bar, it didn't jump. So that's a bit problematic. Oh, and there, right? Blind. Just frustrating. Okay, well, while I'm fighting my way through, should we start talking about the presentation and the quality, basically, presentation and play?
Audio, graphics, information design, yeah.
So I have to say, I think it's oh, that's interesting. Can I just no, can't make it. I have to say that the presentation, I think, is really good. I think the graphics are nice. All the elements work really well together. It's got good audio. It's got the speeches in there. There's I'm not sure about sound effects, actually. I'm not sure I've heard any sound effects. So this is annoying. Like, why am I not? So not only am I not dying, I also can't carry on. This could be bad. Ah, there we go. Perhaps there's hidden holes or something.
Yeah.
So I kind of, my gut feeling is that a professional would be at the good level. So complete presentation, effective, excellent would be impactful. So it's those things, but it kind of adds appealing to it. I'm not quite sure it's up at the excellent. I mean, there are nice little touches like the parallax scrolling there, for example. But so maybe halfway between the two, perhaps. We've said there's some issues with, the information design. I mean, it's quite nice once I get in here, but it doesn't tell me what I've got, or I don't think it's telling me when I've got new things in my inventory. Sound effects could be a little bit more, but they're niggles. I think it's sort of halfway between good and excellent for that. New London.
Yeah.
Not that old London. Meaningful play. Oh, well, there we go. You've arrived in the city. There you are. Oh, cities are nice for parallax. Meaningful play is kind of mechanics, controls, and bugs. And I would say a good would be engaging, but also with smooth controls. And I have moaned a little bit about the controls. Satisfactory is usable controls and playable. There's not that much in the way of mechanics, right? Oh, crikey. So, I mean, let's see what happens over there. I kind of...
Oh, just people.
It's strange. I can't... That's weird. Okay, an abandoned bus sign. Some tyres.
That doesn't look very new.
No.
Old London, yeah.
Oh, is that a train? Okay. Yeah, so all of my interactions really are... This would be a TARDIS. Oh, see, I can jump on that. I wasn't sure if I could. All of my interactions are basically the platforming aspects, and like I said, they're if they managed to get the controls working and they'd had some slightly more interesting levels, I think it would have been engaging. But for me, I think the play is probably more at the satisfactory level. Kind of, it's playable.
Yeah, simple game with few mechanics.
So what was that one? Was that Mark? Okay, didn't quite hear that one. But let's carry on.
So yeah, okay. What about?
Oh, here we go.
Romeo, I see you've made your way to the the outskirts. I thought you'd gotten lost listening to those trees, haha.
What do you want?
Oh, come on, don't be like that. I just wanted to share the view. From up there, you can see it all. The city laid bare.
Right.
Speaking of seeing it all, I've got some stuff to show you.
Mark will help. I don't understand this choice either. Mark will help. Mark won't help. Well, that's up to Mark, not up to me. Do I think
you
that
will
Mark will help? Do I think that Mark won't help?
Hmm.
I don't.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's not trusting. Dubious. Okay, what's that?
Bank statement from Sophia. She's withdrawn an absurd amount of money. This is dated 2 days before this mess. What has she done?
Oh, is she
Maybe
stealing?
she has a reason.
Must be a typo. I don't think it's a typo. Let's do that. And that's a negative one. So we,
This madness.
Yeah.
Nature still finds a way to surprise you.
here we go. Oh, alright.
This receipt is addressed to Mark. How could he spend that much money? Wait, did Sophia give him this money?
Ah. Do you think so? Did she give them money? Who knows? It sounds like they're plotting against us. So let's be. We're going to be in denial. I love the game trope of people just leaving their personal private thoughts around.
On the outskirts, and they'll be in the shopping district. The shopping district is just on the other side of the suburbs.
Right. So we've got to hurry to the.
Darling, you're so close. Trust your instincts, they'll get you through this. Meet me at the New London Park, by the shopping district. It's nearly time.
Ah,
I'm losing my patience with these two.
I'm coming, Sophia. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Oh.
Very.
So I'm.
I
Yeah.
I really want to know the truth, or what what's actually happening.
Yeah.
It's building
Oops.
up to a very big twist. It feels like, or something maybe.
Yeah. It sort of feels. So that's odd. I just sort of stopped there on the road. Had to jump over something invisible. Yeah. Okay. Oh. So I'm not quite sure why I can't. Sometimes I can jump on these things and sometimes I can't. And I get stuck on the corner and it looks like, but I'm not on the corner.
Yeah.
If I dash, no.
Oh, you
Go
have
from
to.
there,
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Oh, and I still can't get around there.
Oh, do you have to go in the building, or what did the
Yeah, I can't.
note say?
I can't get through.
Or the message, I mean. What? Yeah, this one.
Meet me at the New London Park by the shopping district. It's nearly time.
Maybe it's the on the left. Is this the park?
Don't know. He did say something as we went into here, but I thought it was the. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong thing, as you can see. Yeah, part of the problem is because it's very hard to tell the background from the foreground. So I can get on the bus, but I can't get over the bus.
So.
Do you think I need to be on top of the lamppost? Crazy.
Oh, there was a note on the top actually, on the building.
A note on the building? What, over here?
Yeah. So if you jump here, you
yeah.
see it on the top. So somehow.
You think I need to be on the lamp? I reckon I need to be on the lamppost.
The player enters. I'm looking at what they say here.
Yeah. Oh my life.
No, I think you can jump from the bus at the end on the building somehow.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Although it...
Right,
You-
I'm going. Ah, oh, I can jump on
Oh,
that. Right, that's very strange.
yeah, that's a bit...
Really?
New London Park, midnight. That's the meeting place Sophia mentioned. Was this Mark's plan or hers?
Do we think it's Mark's plan or Sophia's plan?
Probably Mark, he's the bad one. Maybe.
Do you think she's luring us?
Uh,
See, here's the thing. What does it mean to choose this? If I choose it's Sophia's plan, does that mean I think that she's acting in our interest and she's trying to save us? Or does that mean that I think there's a plan afoot to harm us and she's responsible? If it's Mark's plan,
Yeah, that's...
is he trying to save me from Sophia? So the problem is, with this choice, is that there is a choice to be made. Do you trust Mark or Sophia? But it's not obvious what these options map to, right? So let's assume that we trust. Let's assume that we trust Sophia. Let's assume we trust Sophia. So in that case, do we say it's Sophia's plan or do we say it's Mark's plan?
I would go with Sophia. Just
do it.
because...
And then where do I go? Now I'm up here. Over this way, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
There we go. Okay.
So this is the shopping district. The park should be just on the other side.
Alright, so we've got to the shopping district. Oops. There we go.
And do you have to...
Jump on those things, maybe?
Yes.
I jump on that? Yeah. Oh,
At least it spawns you.
yeah.
That's Sophia. It's unmistakable. Who's that she's chatting to? What's this photo trying to prove?
It's just coffee.
Can you... Can you look at the photo in the menu?
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Right, where am I supposed to be going?
On top of that building. Yeah.
Oops. On top of that building there. Right.
So
Oops.
so you're hopping on rooftops now.
Oh.
It's almost time, but before you come, I need you to understand something. It's about Sophia. She's not what she seems.
Don't listen to him. Trust me, darling. Only me.
What?
Everything that's happened has led to this moment.
Are they both on the same phone call?
The New London Park.
She says, trust me, only me.
Right.
It offers no answers. But then there's Mark. His cryptic messages. Can I ignore his accusations purely on her pleas alone?
Yeah, I don't trust Mark. God knows what he's up to. Oh, here we go.
Okay?
Sophia, thank God you're safe. I didn't know what to believe. Mark, the photos.
It's all right, my love. We can leave together. But first, there's something you need to see.
Oh, what is it?
You fool! Don't trust her. She's...
He was going to hurt us. To frame me, to break us apart.
Hmm.
He forced me to withdraw the money, using those staged photos to manipulate me, control me.
Ah.
I've got proof.
How could you? Because it was easy. I have people to pay off, and staging those photos and playing Sophia like a puppet worked the charm.
Don't listen to him. He's a scared, desperate man. I'm all you need.
We need to call the police, expose him, do something.
For now, please just give me a hug.
Ending 1. Okay, so I didn't get a final choice. I was expecting like a final climactic choice. So if I go to secrets, I've got ending 1, but it doesn't tell me what the ending 1 is. Okay. So I like this in general, but I'm feeling that the narrative is a bit loosey-goosey, right? It feels a bit
Ah,
Like I'm not quite in control of the decisions I'm making. It's not quite clear what's going on. I will try and go through it again. We might have time to get through it once more. So this time I'm going to trust Mark and see if we get a different ending. And while I'm doing that, perhaps we could make our way through the rest of the mark scheme. So I can.
yeah.
I should go and
I
find
think we're on the story engine part of the marking script.
Yeah. So
Marking criteria.
so that's basically about to what extent does the story affect the game, the state of the game, and to what extent does the state of the game affect the story. So we did ask them to comment on this in their game design notes. So I'm interested in what they said.
Yeah, let me see. So, how does the narrative impact the game world? So, during the game, the player is given narrative choices continuously over the game, such as the player having to choose which character to trust.
Yeah.
Some of these choices are scripted, but others are discoverable by the player. At one point during the game, the player is offered a choice between two different routes.
Yeah.
When they make their decision, the player is forced to explore that chosen route.
Well, I'm going to take the shortcut this time.
And the route dictates a certain narrative of the gameplay, with each route having a unique ending.
So
So that's how the narrative impacts the game world, what they've written.
Okay, so the problem with that is, so what we're looking for is the state of the game world to change based on narrative choices we've made. And I think what they're arguing is that because I've chosen to go up the tree, I now can't just walk off the side. Right? I don't know if that's true. Yes, so I can't walk this way now. So
I
it is true that that is an example of the narrative affecting the game world, but I'm not that taken by it with it, if I'm honest, because it feels to me. So first of all, why is that even a narrative choice? So what they've done is they've taken a game world choice. Do I go up here or do I follow the? And they've said, oh, we can make this a choice in the narrative engine, and then block off the route that you want to go. But it's not really a narrative choice. A narrative choice would be one of those questions about, do I trust Sophia, or what am I going to say to Mark, would then have some effect in the world. So for example, maybe I end up meeting Sophia earlier or in a different place, or maybe there would be extra obstacles in place if I'd made a particular decision. So I'm not, it's a very, very minor example, I think, what they've given us there. What about the other way around?
How does the game world impact the narrative? So the game world has items that the player can discover. Some of them are obvious and placed in the route, while some are hidden slightly out of the way but are all reachable. Yeah. Therefore, the narrative of the game is dependent on the passion of the player. These items hold crucial information that will help the player inform their decisions. Additionally, depending on which path the player chooses to explore, there is different information given to the player, and the narrative of what is happening is twisted to focus on specific characters over others. So in this case, I assume the narrative would be going towards Mark. Yeah. Because you chose his.
So their argument is that it's the collectibles, basically, because I collect stuff in the real world, and that gives me. Okay, but that gives me information. Narrative. But does that actually change the story?
My love, where are you? Did you find the tree?
I'm gonna trust Mark this time.
I'm high up, climbing the trees towards you, just like you said.
Climbing? You shouldn't be on the treetops. Why aren't you in the forest?
No, your message. You said to follow the trees.
Not to their treacherous heights. Remember, my love.
Okay.
Trust your path.
So I think the story engine. I do have the dash. I think the story engine is a bit problematic in both ways, actually. So let's think about game world to story. So game world to story, you make the choice. Do I follow the treetops or not? And then it blocks off the route that you want to go. So that is an example.
That gives
But all,
different
but all they've
narrative.
done is they've taken what should be a diegetic choice and they've put it in the engine, right? So a pass would be a few sparse or minor examples where the game world impacts the story. So, oh yes, that's game world to story. Story to game world, that is, sorry. So a pass would be a few sparse or minor examples of where the story impacts the game world. Is there anywhere else where the story impacts the game world?
I think so. The story. I mean, from what they say, I think that's everything. Yeah, I can't think of any other places that I've seen it.
So I think that a poor would be the game world has no real impact on the story. I think they've probably saved themselves from that, but I don't think they're much more than that. So I think this is going to be halfway between a poor and a pass.
Yeah.
Because that really is the only place, I think.
What about story to game world? It's similar.
Yeah, there's more instances of it though, isn't there? Because I can pick up the notes, but then the notes don't actually seem to have any kind of concrete impact, right? They just tell me different things.
Yeah.
But you know, that does change my appreciation of the story.
Keep your paws off my stuff, whoever you are. This isn't a library.
This writing is unmistakably Mark's. Still playing games, I see.
Yeah,
There is the story does impact the game world, as in right now you're in another,
Wow, Mark.
because of the story,
System looks like a storm hit it.
yeah,
you're in another place and you have different information and different story.
What is
yeah.
this, Sophia?
But that's still because of my choice with which way to go. I think part of this
Yeah.
is by trying to wrap that up as both a story choice and a game choice, they've really confused which way around this is going. I mean, my feeling is that there are multiple places where picking up a collectible or not makes a slight difference to the story. But I think they're fairly minor. I don't think it's really changing the story. It's not clear to me if anything other than my final choice actually makes a real impact. So I think probably for game world to story, it's still probably only at the pass level, I think.
Yeah.
Damn it. Thanks for the shortcut, Mark. I'm in the forest.
And oh wow. So that leads us to agency and the richness of choice.
Yeah. So here I think we find those problems writ large, right? So this is about the number of choices and how interesting those choices are. What does it say in their game notes about the consequences of making these choices? What does it mean to say, oh, I trust Mark here, or I'm sure Sophia's innocent? What does it actually do?
Doesn't necessarily say, but on each choice that they list, there's a point. So it feels like depending on which one you choose, it either subtracts or adds to your score.
Okay.
And in the end, it looks at that to determine the ending.
Right, okay. So it's not just down to my final choice, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, okay, so we have a number of choices, but why won't it let me go in? Oh, it will. The choices themselves, I think, are quite ambiguous. They're not choices of action. They're choices of what I think. And that might be interesting, but it's not always obvious what they correspond to. it feels kind of. So what do we have? So for example, a pass would be some choices but only a few interesting choices. Poor would be few choices, player agency is problematic, right? I don't think we've got few choices. I think we've got
Hey, Romeo!
a number of choices, but I think our agency is problematic. We're not being given much information about even through these things,
She's withdrawn.
Yeah.
and it's not always clear what the options mean.
Nature still finds a way to
So I don't think it's poor. I think it's got multiple choices in here, but I do think the agency is a bit problematic. And that's a shame in a sense, because they have tried to make it an interesting choice about trust. You know, it's not necessarily obvious.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm kind of thinking maybe we kind of say there are elements here that are poor about agency. There are elements here that are satisfactory in terms of the overall choice being an interesting one, and elements here that are a pass because I've got multiple choice points. So maybe overall that ends up being a pass. Oops. Oh, that's interesting. I just sort of pressed space by accident and dismissed that phone call.
Yeah,
So-
okay. And what about the pacing? So we're on techniques now. And pacing.
Yeah, so pacing, I feel like
Story-wise,
I feel like I'm sort of making progress, but I wouldn't say that it's ascending. I wouldn't say that the stakes feel like they're going up. I discover
Yeah.
a few things, but it's not like the stakes rise or, and then the final thing, there's no kind of crescendo. There's no kind of dramatic finale. The story just resolves according to the choices I've made along the way. So I think, a pass would be pacing is unclear or flat, and I'm tempted to go there. I don't know what you think.
I mean, there's definitely some pacing both in level design and in story-wise. Because I suppose the levels are a bit harder, or get a bit harder,
New London Park, midnight.
and story-wise,
I don't think they necessarily do actually get harder.
So this is the shopping district. The park should be just on the other side.
There is a sense of progress. You know, I'm in the park. I'm in the trees. I'm in the forest. I'm in the I'm in the city. Oh, it's so annoying.
you have to go get up on the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So I'm not sure. So above that would be satisfactory, some ascending pacing.
Ascending. Yeah.
In what way does it ascend, the story pacing?
I guess you could argue that you're getting closer to the truth, and your excitement about that. The story.
But how does the story
in a
change?
That's the
Or how does the game change to
It's unmistakable. Who's that she's chatting with?
Yeah, in that case, it doesn't change that much actually. Yeah, when you put it like that, it does feel like it's at the past level.
Oh, so there we go. I had the choice there. I was busy jumping, so I dismissed it.
Where's Sophia? Tell me.
Romeo arrives, but his princess is already lost, poisoned by her own lies.
You're insane. She was gonna...
Look around, where is she? Here is proof of her deceit.
What are all these transactions? Contracts with Sophia's signature. And there's more photos. Who is that man?
You might want to trust that pretty smile less and open your eyes. It's lucky you have me.
She's lied to me this whole time. How can I trust her again?
Not to worry, Romeo. I fixed that problem for you.
Mark, what did you do? Mark!
Sinister. There's also an odd thing going on here, which is that it's not clear to me that the fabula of the story is stable. So, is Sophia trustworthy or not? Right? It felt in the first one where I thought she was, it turned out she sort of was, and in the second one where I thought she wasn't, she sort of turned out not to be. So, yeah, that's another more examples of the issues around the agency. But anyway, yeah. So for pacing, I think that pass, pacing unclear or flat.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where we are. Storytelling techniques, I think, is a completely different story. I think they've done a really good job with storytelling techniques. We've got some really nice cutscenes. We've got those lovely pictures and messages and all of that stuff. I mean, and if I just go into it now, I mean, this little cutscene at the beginning, this little scripted scene, the animation, I just had the one at the end there. I mean, all of this is really nice. The narration, all of those elements, right? So that's great. And then, and this stuff here with the different media, so the handwritten notes, the pictures I get, the invoice, all of those things are lovely. So a good would be the successful use of more than one game writing technique, and I think they're definitely up there. Excellent would require the mechanics to support the theme. I'm not sure. Have they said what the theme of their story is, and like which story they're?
They have. From what I can see, they haven't said anything about that. Okay.
So, and I'm not really sure. I mean, if we forget what fable they're supposed to be basing it on, if we just looked at the story itself, I don't know, it seems it's a story about trust, but I'm not sure whether the lesson here is that we should trust or we shouldn't trust, or that we should be skeptical, or what really.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then the mechanics that are just the jumping around, navigating the landscape, doesn't feel like there's any kind of trust element to it, or so I think they're completely independent. So I think that the storytelling techniques are at the good level, because they've definitely successfully used more than one game writing technique, but they haven't thought about how the mechanics of the game fit in, and support it. Yeah. And that kind of takes us to their feedback.
And from what I can see, they have 4 main points. And the first being the cutscenes should not give away significant plot details. Rather, they should suggest such details which the player discovers over the course of the gameplay. So that's the feedback. And what they say is that initially they plan to have cutscenes or larger pieces of narrative spaced out over the game.
Yeah.
And we received feedback that this story structure will make the narrative too obvious and does not encourage the player to continue further to discover the truth. We changed our story model to fit the story to the player more throughout their own gameplay. Which they've done that.
So I have to be honest, I don't quite understand that. I do think that having the narrative more woven into the game is a better solution. Oh, I can't do this because I can't actually see where the rock is. I think I might have just been lucky last time.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah. So, and is there anything else? Anything else that they've said?
So the next one is... the intro cutscene does not need to be rewatched on replay of the game. So they received multiple requests to make the opening cutscene skippable, so they fixed that. The player controls need to be smoother and provide information about what controls are used for the game.
Yeah.
So the dash mechanic, Really?
What does this say?
Yeah, so they've added the controls page and also show the controls in the game.
Okay, so I think that
And-
that does work actually. So I'm less convinced with the first point. It is true that you just skipping the cutscene is useful, but I yes, okay. But the second one, that makes a big difference, putting the controls in the game. I think it's made it a lot
They
more
do.
learnable.
Yeah, they do mention an interesting thing, that they received feedback about the character being able to stick to some walls,
Yeah,
which still kind of happens actually.
yeah,
However, the way we so this resulted in the player sliding of most vertical walls and colliders. So we have fixed this issue by changing the way we apply the colliders to the player character. So they had an even bigger bug previously, apparently,
yeah,
where the player gets stuck, and now it's a bit better, but still, from the looks of it,
yeah,
you
Yeah.
still are having some trouble.
yeah. I think so. So I mean, overall, it sounds to me like they have listened to their feedback and they've made changes and they've had a sort of some success with them. So that feels like the feedback's at the sort of satisfactory level to me. Does that sound about
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna leave our protagonist slowly sinking into this swamp. But yeah, interesting game, interesting type of story. I don't think it was entirely successful, but I really like the fact they had a go at it. I think kind of it's difficult to pull off this type of relationship story. So nice to see
Yeah,
someone
sure.
try. But let's move on to our next game. So our next game
So-
is called Planet Escape.
And by the way, this game is made by a single person, looks like.
Yes, you're right.
So
we need to take that in mind when we're thinking about the scope.
exactly, yeah.
Here we go. Let's start the game. So I remember this
Oh
one.
wow.
So just a confession here. When I tried this game, I didn't know what to do, and I wasn't sure if it was broken. So I ended up having quite a long email conversation with the student, who basically taught me through how to use the game and what to do. So I will. I kind of know a little bit more about it now, but let's see what happens. So here we go. It's the start of the game. There's no title screen or anything, unless this is a title screen. What do you think I should do?
There was a title screen where you had to press start.
Oh yes,
but-
yes, you're right. Sorry, you're right. I pressed up. There's no
Yeah.
instructions. So what do you think I should do?
Maybe. Can you press keys?
Yeah, it's left and right.
WSD?
Oh, I can go up and down as well.
Okay.
Oh, now you have fixed the
And-
ship and
oh.
collected everything. We need the flight to. We can go. So be careful out there.
Okay.
I think that's just started in the wrong place. There we go. That's the right place.
Ah.
That's weird. Okay, so that's a bug. So this is the way we should start, right? So the premise is we've crash landed on a planet and we have to fix the ship, right? So, and I can walk around. The ship was damaged in the crash. Put the pieces of ship back together in the correct order to be able to fly again. And I can kind of float around all over the place. And if I remember rightly, okay. And it doesn't say, but I press enter. Oh. Okay, so
I see.
so I've got and it doesn't tell me what to do. So this is a block puzzle. And
Yeah.
And I can drag these things around. So the first time I played this, I thought it had crashed at this point, because all I could see to do was restart. I thought, I don't know what this is, but yeah, it's a block puzzle. So I can sort of start putting things together a little bit. Kind of, yeah, see what we end up with. I think I might have just blown it. Yeah, I think I have. I don't think I can rotate them, but I'm not sure. let's try. So let's try and put these together. Go there. Maybe put that one there. Maybe I can't pick them up again either. Which is kind of a little bit frustrating. Yeah, like that's gone the wrong place, hasn't it? I can't do that now.
Yeah.
Right, let's try that one there. Let's put that one. Is it also not quite sure where it goes? There we go. No. Let's try there. Yes. So go here. No. Right. Okay. Let's try going from another direction. See if it helps. Oh, darn! That was the other way around. No, it's not going to work, is it? Yeah, okay, so I have... Oh, that's interesting. It's gone in the wrong place, look. Okay. So that's a bug. Yeah, okay, so, yes, block puzzle. It is a block puzzle. That goes the wrong way, it's a bit annoying. I'll go there, maybe? That one goes there. That one goes there. There we go. We've done it. Done it.
Yes.
Thank God. Right. Done. Well done. You put the ship back together. So now the ship is fixed. During the crash, important items on the ship were blown out. Go and collect these and other native items needed to fly the ship. Okay. Objects to find. Essentials. Useful but not necessary. Okay, so I want a sort of a gun, a little teleportary thing, and a sort of, I don't know, a robotic fan. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's not a maze. It looks like a maze, but it's not a maze.
You do have at the top right oxygen.
Yeah, oxygen time. So I don't think it told me that, did it? Will you help me get to my spaceship? I'm lost. Yes, okay. So now we've got him. Okay, so this is my moral choice, right? Do I help the alien? And presumably that's his spaceship over there. There you are. And then I've got 9 seconds to get back. Okay. Right, I'm kind of...
Just on time.
Just on time. Here we go. I've got my stuff. Can I... Oh, there we go. Oh. Now that you've fixed the ship, we need to... So this is where we started and when we first played the video. So hopefully be careful out there. So this is where we... But if I die, I just die. Oh, my life. Yeah. So given this is one person, they've made an interesting decision to go for mini games. Because mini games is basically one of the hardest ways to build a game, right? Oh, there's our space friend has appeared to shelter us. That's nice.
Okay, that's yeah.
So yeah, it's one of the hardest ways. Congrats, we hit off the planet successfully. We're there. Yeah, because instead of having to write one game, you've got to write 3. So you know, it's an odd choice, I think. But all right, so we've seen enough. I think. I presume if I don't help the alien, he doesn't come back to help me. I'll do that again.
You can start.
So there's the items. So let's go and collect the. So I know what items to get. So yeah. So what do we think about presentation?
Yeah. So that's graphics, audio, and information design.
So the graphics I think are fine.
I really like the drawn the ship, inside the ship, it looks really
There's
cute.
there's a mismatch. So if we look on here, like the aliens are different graphic than me, and the two ships are at different resolutions. So it definitely has a kind of slightly homemade feel to it. The ship's really nice, and it's a bit of a shame it wasn't a bit more like this.
Yeah.
But so I think elements of it are really good. We've got music and we've got sound effects, so all of that's in place. So I think it's kind of workable. So effective with some inconsistencies. That would put it as satisfactory. Does that feel about right? Oh,
Yeah,
I've got to
I
do this
think-
again.
And we have to consider it's a single person. So again,
Yeah. So I think that's probably about right.
What about the mechanics, controls, and bugs?
So there's definitely a few bugs. Like just the starting thing was a bit buggy, wasn't it? I'm be careful what I do here. Right? Put that there, maybe. Yeah. There we go. So we had a few bugs in place. Put the ship back together. But now I need to go and get my stuff. Is that right? Do you think it's just timing? Or... Oh no, we can go. Astro Chara. So we did them in different orders. And now there's no... I presume there's no alien. Oh. Oops.
Yeah.
I died. Okay. Yeah, so mechanics, controls, and bugs. So we've got a few bugs. Satisfactory would be a playable game, simpler game with fewer mechanics but usable controls.
Some minor bugs.
And
Because some
a
minor
pass
bugs.
would be a simple game. So it is verging on being a simple game, right? I mean, the fact that they've got these multiple mini games kind of takes away from that a little bit. But the mini game's the same every time we do it. They're very simple. The maze isn't even a maze, right? It's just I can just go anywhere I like. I wouldn't say the controls are awkward, but I think it does have few mechanics. Yeah, so it feels to me like in terms of meaningful play, it might be at a pass level. So challenging, simple game with few mechanics, awkward controls, may have serious bugs. I don't think it has... Well, the first playthrough it did have a serious bug, but it's not... It's definitely bugs, but it's for the other things I think it's probably at the pass level.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. And so now we go to the story engine part. And let me
Can I
see
go
what
back?
was said.
So I didn't put any... So I didn't get any bits that time. I picked up nothing. And it's let me come back here. So let's see what happens. So yeah, what did they say about their story engine? Because
A place where the narrative impacts the game world. An example of this in my game is that once a task has been completed, like to put the broken pieces of the ship back together, when the player goes back inside the ship has changed. Before the task was completed, it was broken with holes in the floor and all that. After the task, it's fixed. Another example of this is when the maze search task is completed, there is a pile of stuff in the ship that wasn't there before, which represents the stuff that the player collected in the task.
So basically their argument is that it's all environmental storytelling, and the environment of the ship changes to reflect the story. The play. I mean, that is true. That is true. There we go. So there's a pile of stuff now. But it feels quite minor. So so what's that? That's game world to story, I suppose. And there's story to game world?
No, that's actually narrative to the game world on that part, which is, again, it's confusing.
Let's mix them up.
Because and let me say the other one. So game world impact the narrative. Uh, so
Ooh.
whether they choose to help take the alien back to the ship will mean whether or not they can survive the asteroid shower. If they help the alien, then the alien joins them in the end. Another example is that depending on how many extra items the player decided to collect, calculates their chances of guaranteed survival in the asteroid shower.
Right, okay.
If they collected all of the extra items as well as helping the alien, the player will not be able to die. If they did not collect all of the extra tasks, even if they help the alien, then this reduces their chances of guaranteed survival. Okay, so that's about how the game world impacts the narrative, and this is a bit hard because it feels like the narrative is, or there is something there, but it's minor and it's very hard to talk about it in a way that.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I've messed this up. Yeah, so well, let's think about this a little bit. So, game world to story. Their argument is that the story is being told through the environment. So, as you successfully complete the missions, the ship changes to reflect that, and that's true. It's quite a minor example. There's not an awful lot of storytelling going on, but it is true that happens. Other elements in the game are how many things you collect, but that feels like it affects the game mechanically. So there we've got game world to game world rather than anything else.
Ah, yes.
And I think nothing. The other element of the story is your interactions with the alien, but again, that's very minor. It's not framed particularly a story, and I don't think it goes. The game world doesn't affect anything the alien does. So, yeah, it feels to me like that it is true. The ship changes state based on where you are in the game, right? So, but that's a very minor example, but it is there. So a pass would be a few sparse and minor examples where the game world impacts the story. And a poor would be some support for story elements of the game, but the game world has no real impact on the story. So I think a pass is exactly where it is, right? A few sparse and minor examples.
Yeah.
I mean,
Story to game world.
and even it may arguably be halfway between a pass and a poor because there are so few examples, right? There's only two effectively.
Yeah.
So maybe halfway between the two. Story to game world. You don't really make story decisions other than maybe whether to pick up the alien.
Saving the alien.
So that's probably the only example. It's not really framed as a story decision, but it sort of is, and that then affects you at the end game. But that's I think it, right? So again, I think that's very similar as well. It's actually exactly the same as the previous one, halfway between poor and a pass, because it is, in that case, it's one minor example of where the story impacts the game world, right?
Yeah.
So I think again probably the same level. Right. The problem is I can't talk. I can't talk and do the block puzzle at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah. It's,
yeah. So
part.
yeah, agency.
You have a few minor choices. Do I collect all the equipment? Do I help the alien?
Yeah.
And I think that's.
But those aren't really story decisions though, are they? Oh.
Maybe that's the difficult part. Maybe you could argue saving the alien. Actually. Well, the story is that you have to fix the ship, and you're picking up. Oh, but then again, is it a choice? You have to do it, or you feel like you have to do it.
Yeah. Oop. Got a feeling I just cheated my way to success. Yeah, so, well, let's think about the choices. I think there's only one choice, which is the alien. I think the other choices are all mechanical choices. You know?
Yeah.
So, do I pick the alien up or not? Is it an interesting choice? The time pressure makes it slightly more interesting than not, right? But there's no clue about why I would or would not do it, and it's not framed at all really in the narrative. It's a single decision, right?
Yeah.
A poor would be there are a few choices. Player agency is problematic, and I kind of think it's there, right? And an absent would be there's no real choices of consequence, and I think there is a choice of consequence, which is the alien.
Yeah.
Now I know for poor it says few choices. I mean, you have one choice, but I think this might be where the fact it's a single person developer might come in.
Yeah.
So we'll be, what we tend to be there is to be a bit more generous in terms of the number of things we see. So I think we can still say it's a, that still only makes it a poor, but at least it's not lower than that, I think.
Yeah.
And then in terms of pacing, we've got, in fairness, we do have the two episodes on the ground, and then we have the final trying to escape the planet. So it does feel like the pacing picks up a bit, but again, we're really talking about narrative pacing, and there's just so little narrative here to go on. So
it's difficult to say.
I mean, if we go with their argument about the environmental storytelling and the, you're being prompted, you've got those signs coming up and explaining what's going on. You've crash landed on a planet, you need to find the stuff. Now you need to escape the planet. So, yeah, it feels like there is an attempt to control pacing, because we've got 2 missions on the ground and then we go off into space. A pass would be pacing is unclear or flat.
Or is no serious attempt to control pacing.
Yeah, so I think there is an attempt to control pacing, because it's...
Yeah.
Is it unclear or flat? Well, I don't know. It kind of does pick up a bit. I think it's probably a bit above that. So maybe satisfactory would be some ascending pacing, and again, the simplicity makes it hard to justify that, I think. But again, maybe halfway between the pass and the satisfactory. And then storytelling techniques. We've got the little sign that pops up, and we've got the environmental storytelling, right? So we have. So satisfactory would be fully successful use of at least one game writing technique. The problem here, I think, is the word fully, because there's only one element of environmental storytelling, and there's only one simple sign that puts on. So although they're both present, I would argue that both of them are perhaps more down at the partially successful level, right?
Because there's not a lot of examples of them.
So, and again, maybe this is maybe a case where we say, because it's a single person, we would say, okay, we'll settle on the satisfactory, because there's multiple techniques, and they are here, and they're not quite fully realised, but they're both present. And then feedback. What did they say for feedback?
Let me see. So, I was given the feedback that the game idea seemed a bit too long and complicated. Could be better just having to fix the ship as the entire game. So
Yeah,
what
so-
they did was I reduced the complexity of the game design so that it only entailed tasks involving fixing the ship. So that's the first part. Then have the player go out on the planet to find resources. And there you also come across the alien. And you know, the person pretty much included that task.
Yeah.
Then the choice to have the alien could be that they want something that you, for you to get, you would have to waste something valuable, and that's why the oxygen was incorporated, or the timer in this case, because
Yay.
otherwise, again, you can just save them
Yeah.
or not, and there's no
So-
pressure.
So sorry, I was laughing then
And-
because I managed to solve the puzzle by using the bug.
Yeah.
That's true actually. So and we did comment on that, right? That gives you the pressure and it makes it a more interesting choice than it would otherwise be.
Yeah, exactly.
Oops.
Also about the tutorial aspect, the feedback was don't overload people with information at the start, so they used the screen with just enough information to continue. You know, not like a giant wall of text.
Yeah. Okay. Done. So. Yeah. So I mean, I think, and that does work. The smaller doses. So I think here, you know, satisfactory would be feedback was addressed and the changes have been somewhat successful. And I kind of think that's true. So I still think they would have been better off just focusing on one of the mini games and developing that more, right? And building a story around that. But I do think that the timer has worked well. Reducing the text has worked, although it's also resulted in a much thinner story. So I think satisfactory, you know, feedback was addressed, changes have been somewhat successful, probably reflects that reasonably well.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right. Shall we move on to our next game? So on to our next game, which is called Knight's Quest. Here we go. So we've got a very simple start screen, no graphics, but we've got some nice background music. What are options? Our music volume. Okay. That's probably about right, I'd say. I've turned it down a little bit. Let's play.
Okay. Yeah.
William, use WASD or arrow keys to move and E or left click to shoot. So why is that bloke following me? Oh, this is a bit weird. So, okay, so left click. It doesn't actually matter which way the mouse is. I just shoot in one direction, and then I can hit that. Who is that? Who's that? Oh wow.
William, maybe.
So, do you think? I think it's William who's following us around. Oh, I can't jump out. Oh, they're just sort of backgroundy. All right. Okay. Well, there's only one way to go, so let's go that way.
Thanks for lighting up that torch. It makes me feel a lot safer. I am grateful for that. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's William.
Oh, try to get as many coins as possible. They may be useful. All right. So it's like a narration, but the narrator is floating around us like a bearded balloon.
Yeah.
Right, marvellous. Alright, so I touch those, they come on. The controls are very, very floaty, but they're quite forgiving. So I don't mind them being floaty particularly.
Yeah, okay.
You're getting rich now. Am I there, William? Oh. Okay, there was a knight. I shot him.
Yeah.
Okay. Boom, boom. So 2 shots to kill those. Oh. Do you want to rescue the medic? Cost 5 gold. So we have a choice.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 33 gold. I can just about still see that. Just, who is this medic? Should I rescue him? What is... I suppose I might as well rescue him.
Yeah.
No reason not to rescue. Oh, he's following me around as well now. Like a bad smell. Do you think he's going to heal me in that sphere? Do you think that's the way this works?
Oh, that maybe, yeah.
But I haven't taken any damage yet. I'm sure I will rectify that situation. What's up there? Anything? Okay. Oh, they got stuck? No, they're coming. Can I get... No, can't quite get there. I can't double jump. Let's have a... Oh, it looks very close, doesn't it? Oh, there's a person to that. What I might do...
Possible.
I'm going to come down here and take some damage. Oh no, you damaged me. You damaged me? No, you didn't damage me. You just... Hello?
Oh, a bit.
Oh, a bit. Oh, there we go. So, let's see if the medic will heal me. Come on, medic. No. So much for that idea.
Maybe very slowly. I think it's very slow, but it does
I
go
think
up.
so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
It's
you're right.
almost-
You're right. You're right. There you go. Yeah, it's sort of about halfway there. Okay. Let's go this way. So the music stopped and it hasn't restarted. So, no, stop killing people. Oh, is that the medic?
Stop kidding. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
Or why should I be killing
the
people
medic, of course. Yeah.
or not killing people? I don't know why. Why would I do either of these things? Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Okay, I'm kind of making my way through this silent world now. Okay, there's a door.
Oh,
Do you want to rescue or leave the fire mage? Yeah, rescue him. We have... It's the fire mage. I can't see a fire mage. Do we not have the fire mage? Oh, what was that? Merlin. Whilst I am following you, I will burn your enemies. Okay,
Oh,
so
I
I think the fire mage is... We could use the fire mage. Isn't Martin the one who said Toby to stop burning the enemies?
yeah.
Stop killing people, but rescue that man with the massive burny fireball spell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Who's
that's
that?
him, I think.
Oh, do you think that's him?
Maybe.
Oh yeah, I think that is him. After I heard about your town burning, I tried burning down the king's quarters, but was caught and thrown in that dungeon. Okay, so... Oh dear.
Oh,
Restart game. Oh dear, that's not good. Oh,
Where-
they're all still here.
that's yeah.
They're all still here. Have I gone back to the beginning? We could use the fire mage.
The beginning of the level, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Martin's... So he doesn't realise we've got the fire mage. He's still telling us to go and get him. Okay. Says the fire mage. Oh yeah, Merlin's telling us stuff again. Alright, oops. Okay, here we go. He doesn't sound like a particularly nice person, the fire mage, I'll be honest. Oh, there's a sound effect. Right, okay. So it wasn't quite blind because I could see where I was jumping before I went up, but it was then a blind jump down, which isn't ideal. Let's have a look. Right. Okay, so while we're waiting for me not to get killed in the lava, should we start going through the criteria? I think we can talk about the presentation and play elements already. Presentation, I was quite liking actually. I mean, it's simple. There's no animations or anything, but I've got these kind of nice circles that kind of show me what's going on. I've got the graphics are all consistent. The one thing is the text is a bit strange. So this 30 is sort of floating mid-air. I guess that might be a resolution problem, possibly. And the text up here isn't the right size for the... So if I fall down on there... Ah, there you go. That's a nice little clue. Stop killing people. Watch your enemies burn. Actually, burning's not done very much so far. Oh dear. Okay, let's talk about presentation. So, I like some of the information design. Some of the text is a bit clumsy, but the graphics are nice and nice and consistent. Not really much of a starting screen, but there was a placeholder for one. I had some nice music, although it stopped, which is a shame. I don't have very many sound effects. It would have been nice to have a few more sound effects going on. But yeah, not bad, I would say, for that. So I mean, what's a satisfactory kind of workable, effective, but with some
effective and some
inconsistencies. I kind of feel it's there. It kind of the inconsistencies being with some of the textual display and the audio dying halfway through. So now the floaty thing is starting to be a problem because landing on that little one square is a pain. So playability or meaningful play.
Mechanics, controls, and bugs.
So bugs.
This is where the floaty controls.
Yeah, so the controls are floaty, but they're generous. And that's actually worked quite well so far, but it makes landing in a very precise way quite difficult. But they're not terrible, they're fine. The mechanics. So what are my mechanics? I can shoot. I can collect the coins.
Yeah, and decide to.
And I've got the choices of whether or not to rescue this crowd of people who now follow me around.
And then use, for example, you can either choose to use the fire mage to do the killing, or you can do it yourself. I suppose.
Yeah, in fact, I haven't used the fire mage at all, have I?
Try getting close to.
I think it's because they're. I'm not entirely sure why you'd use the fire mage. I know that's interesting. Where do you think I should go down here?
Oh yeah, try to not kill the guard with your arrows, but
oh, he just wiped him out.
Okay.
Martin says, "Stop killing people."
Oh. I mean, it's a bit hard with the fire mage.
It is.
Okay.
Do you want to rescue or leave the murderer?
Murderer.
A murderer. Should we rescue him as well? Let's do a rescue run, shall we? Let's just rescue everybody. There you go. Let's rescue the murderer. What do you think those are down there? They're probably not good. Yeah, look like some I have blood on them. Behold my fire mage. Yeah, so meaningful play. A satisfactory would be playable. A simple game with a few mechanics, usable controls may have some minor bugs. That feels like a pretty accurate description of where we are. There's a few minor bugs we've spotted. But it's basically controllable. I can certainly play it. So yeah, I think kind of at the satisfactory levels where we are. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't get past these bits. There we go.
The next part is about the story engine, and this might be difficult for now.
Yeah, feels like we. Ugh. Yeah, although we might have to speculate. Let's talk about what we know so far. So the story engine is about to what. Oops, I fired instead of jumped. To what extent is the story influencing the game? The state of the story changing what we see on screen, and what extent do our actions in the game, our interactions with the mechanics and so on, affect the story? Oh, right. So if we think that the story is who am I rescuing, which is it's a little bit of a stretch if I'm honest, but because I'm not given any background whatsoever, I'm just told the name. But if we take that, then so then presumably the story to real world is depending on who I save, they are accompanying me, and they give me special powers. What I could really do with is someone who stops me jumping into spikes. I do find the special powers odd, because I get a fire mage, but I can easily kill all the enemies. I've got unlimited arrows. It's effortless, basically. And I've got a healer, but I never take damage. I just die instantly. So
when it's the lava,
the people who are helping me are no help really. They're just sort of following me around. But yes, I'm guessing that's what they would say, right? Is that the choices I'm making will determine
choices.
The people I'm playing. So that's sort of true. I don't think it's enormously effective because, as I said, they don't actually have an awful lot of impact, and the decisions aren't framed particularly.
You don't know what you're choosing most of the time.
And what's down there, do you think? Okay. So and then what about the so hang on, that's story to game world. So a satisfactory would be some examples of where the story impacts the game world. And pass would be a few sparse and minor examples. Feels maybe there. Maybe halfway between the two. Because I've got several examples, but they're all manifesting in the same way. It's all the same type. And they feel quite minor, really.
Yeah, I think it's at the pass.
Yeah,
it feels like.
Okay, and then that takes us to the way round, which is game world to story. So I presume something's going on here with me killing people, which is why I've got somebody moaning about it all the time. So in their game notes, they should have said what they think are the ways that the story engine works.
Yes, let's see. So how does the game world impact the narrative?
Yeah.
The player can collect coins throughout levels, which can then be used to rescue characters who all contribute to the story in different ways. And the player can light up torches throughout levels, which pleases your original companion and leads to unique dialogue options.
That's it.
What happened?
I got to the end of the level, and I finished. Yeah. Alright, I'm not going to rescue anybody. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we haven't seen any unique dialogue options. We haven't seen much dialogue at all, really. I think they've got one of the fundamental problems they have with this is that the narrative is very, very thin. So the narrative is reduced to a set of mechanical choices. Do you want to pay this much money to have this person accompany you? So just because they come up as like a question doesn't make it a story, right?
You don't have a choice here.
Do you want to rescue me? It costs
you
5.
Always rescue.
So I have to rescue the medic. Do I? Or can I
Yeah.
just walk away? Because I can still play. I don't want to rescue the medic. I'm not interested in the medic. He was no good to me whatsoever.
Uh,
Run away. Yeah, I mean, we'll get on to
Yeah.
the choices later on, but I think the point about the game world to story and story to game world is there's so little story to be hanging off of, right? So all of the things they've just described there are really mechanical choices, I think. Do you want to rescue the fire mage? I'm going to leave the fire mage. So I might as well rescue the medic because he's following me around like a bad penny anyway. Yeah, okay. So what about that was their game world to story, wasn't it? What do they say for story to game world?
Well,
Presumably
for
it's
the
the-
narrative, they said players choose characters to rescue who can help them during levels,
Yeah.
such as giving them hints or unique abilities. Players choose characters to rescue who all interact with each other in different ways. So if you rescue the fire mage and then somebody else, and they interact with everybody else, so they talk to each other, and there's different dialogue.
But I rescued everybody,
Depending
didn't I? Last time?
Well, last time, yes. So you saw how the fire mage was killing, and the medic was like, "No, don't do that." But if you
Okay.
don't rescue the fire mage, then the medic doesn't have to say that and probably says something else.
But that's
Maybe.
story to story. That's whether or not I've rescued the fire mage. So, and also it's so sparse as a story. Okay, so if we were to think about the, so we did the story to game world. If we think about game world to story, what are the decisions I'm making in game world? They're whether to pick up coins. So I suppose you could argue that enables me to then spend those coins. Except I think I started with 30 coins, so I think I started with enough coins to rescue everybody anyway, possibly.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, you could argue that. But the other things I'm doing in the game world, I'm killing the guards. That gets commented on by the players. That's a very. So I think we've got a few really minor spaces, but really not very much for game world to story. So poor would be some support for story elements in the game, but the game world has no real impact on the story. And a pass would be a few sparse or minor examples of where the game world is impacted by the story. So we've said you've got the coins, and you've got the fact that you get some comments on what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean that is sparse or minor, but it's barely anything. I think maybe halfway between poor and a pass.
Yeah, so I'm reading the diagram for the choices, and this is what I was talking about. So if you rescue the fire mage
Yeah.
and then rescue the murderer tells you information about the fire mage that if you didn't rescue the fire mage, you wouldn't know.
Right.
So again, yeah, minor stuff, but that's what I meant previously.
Oh, keep. So, and I think maybe I didn't rescue the murderer before. I think part of the problem is it asks you, do you want to rescue the murderer? It did this with the fire mage, and then you have to go and find them in the level. So you're sort of talking to them before you found them, and it gives you the choice before you found them. So I've decided that yes, I want to rescue the murderer, but I've not found the murderer yet.
Ah.
So that's a bit weird.
see.
Okay, so I think we've got a bit of a problem with the story engine, and
Yeah.
mostly driven by the lack of story. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we move on to agency, I think we're going to see this again, right? So agency is about the number of choices and their kind of richness, whether or not they're interesting choices or whether they're blind choices or what they are. So I suppose we've got sort of 3 or 4 choices, right? We've got the The medic isn't a choice. So we have the fire mage and the murderer. That's our choices, isn't it? Because William starts with us anyway. So we've got 2 choices.
And killing. And I guess, do you kill people or not? That can be a choice.
Yeah. So why would I want to kill people? Why would I not want to rescue them? I've got nothing else to do with my money. So I would argue that this isn't really a choice. It's a calculation, but it's an obvious calculation. I've got, there's no reason for me to hang on to my money, and I've got loads of it.
Yeah.
So and then in terms of should I rescue them or not, like the characters are all just functions to me. They're mechanical things. So there's no characterization. There's no other than their name, right? So do I want to rescue the murderer? And it's like, well, he doesn't sound very pleasant, or perhaps it's a she. But that's all I've got to go on.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not an informed choice. It feels like.
I'm hoping the murderer. I didn't go this way before. I'm hoping the murderer will be here. Where's the fire mage gone? Because I can only shoot right.
I see.
Oh,
yeah, I
think
you're going back now.
I am going back.
Yeah. So there was nothing there.
No. So back to agency. Pass would be some choices, but only if you're interesting. Poor would be few choices. Player agency is problematic. Sounds like where we are.
Yeah.
It's almost an exact description of this, right? We've got 2 choices. No real reason not to just rescue everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's and actually there is an argument that the absent would be a story with no real choices of consequence. So given that I don't really get there is no consequence to these choices, right? Because I don't really need the characters anyway. It feels like it's not completely absent. There's that sort of element of choice there. So maybe halfway between the 2.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
It's a
I
shame.
think you're right.
Was that the end? Yeah, there you go. I just get to the end. Okay, well, the ending takes us on nicely to pacing, I guess.
Oh yeah. So let's see. There is some pacing because I think it gets harder, like the level design and all that. But other than that,
there's no narrative pacing, though, is there?
It doesn't feel.
I'm
like
just sort of collecting people, and it feels like the pacing is essentially flat.
The thing here is that in the diagram they're showing of the narrative structure, apparently when the ending comes, there's there has to be there are different things that happen, but I didn't see any of that.
No.
When you get to the ending, and I don't know if that's a bug or
what. So what do they say is supposed to happen at the end?
So depending on your choices, if you rescue or relieve a number of people, so upon rescuing the murderer, he instantly charges and kills the fire mage. If you rescue both the fire mage and the murderer, if you leave the murderer, William is very unhappy and unloyal, but medic and fire mage are happy. I didn't see. Yeah, it feels like there's like a bug in this game where at the start of the level you rescue.
Yeah.
Or you have that prompt, but it's somewhere in the level actually.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's not. I mean, for a start, I couldn't find the murderer. So
Yeah.
So here you go. So I've said I want to rescue the fire mage, but there's no fire mage here. He's over here somewhere. Yeah, so I really want to try and... There he is. So I want to try and find that murderer. Oh dear. Yeah, I think we have to... I mean, we'll see if we can get it to do something, but we have to mark what's in front of us.
Yeah.
I mean, it does sound that they were trying to do a little bit more. But even so, even if there's kind of interactions between the characters, that still doesn't make the choices themselves any better. And I'm lacking...
Yeah.
I don't even have a premise. So I don't know why I'm here or what I'm doing or... or what's going on.
Yeah. So a pour would be no serious attempt to control pacing, and a pass would be pacing unclear or flat.
Oops.
So it's definitely not descending pacing, which is absent.
Although you could argue. I mean, the game just ends with no.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even a. So I would say that it's kind of it rises and then it just falls off and you end up just sort of walking off the side of the level. So
yeah,
pacing unclear or flat, or no serious attempt to control pacing. It feels like maybe halfway between those two, halfway between a pour and a pass. There's kind of an attempt to the level gets more difficult, but there's no attempt to control narrative.
Yeah.
Pacing, and there's no climax, and in fact it's anticlimactic.
Yeah, it just ends. And what storytelling techniques have we seen?
So we've got
dialogue
really. There's no real. So other types of techniques might have been a sort of cutscene or scripted scene. We don't get that. I thought we were going to get it at the beginning when William came on, but that's just the normal mechanics of the game as he approaches us. So there's no scripted stuff. There's no cutscenes, which for these games, we're not expecting anything grand, but just a graphic and some text would do. But there's nothing like that. So, and again, all I get is the dialogue, and it's very, very minimal. I wouldn't say it's being used effectively. So a pour would be an unsuccessful attempt to use at least one game writing technique, and I kind of think that's where we are.
I am curious. Well, yeah, I guess you're right. They do have the text. Yeah. Okay.
Am I missing anything from? There's no kind of environmental storytelling. There's no kind of.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
no environmental. Yeah.
So that sort of takes us to feedback. So what did they say their feedback was for this?
So our main feedback from the lab was to introduce more in-game world features to impact the narrative. To solve this, we introduced the feature of coins, which act as an in-game pickup for the player to pick up throughout all of the levels.
Yeah.
These coins then stack up and can be seen by the player's coin counter. Yeah.
So we did mention that. So that impacts what decisions you can make, right? That's one of the examples we picked out for where there is some interaction between story and game.
Yeah. So then the players can use the coins at the end of levels to rescue. These characters also have unique personalities and all interact with each other in different ways, providing for different dialogue, storylines, and experiences.
Okay. So that's not talking about feedback, though. That's just making a statement about the game.
Yeah, and then we also introduced a pickup in the form of torches to address this feedback. These torches would light up and would please your main companion. The more you lit up providing for extra dialogue options. And
Okay.
depending on how many you light up, they could be more loyal or less loyal to you, resulting in different story options.
Okay, well, I'm not really getting any of that.
Yeah, we haven't.
Haven't seen any. I think I've been lighting up as all the torches. I missed a couple, but darn. I've mostly got
Yeah,
them.
if it's there, it's not noticeable.
So most of that wasn't feedback. It was just, as I said, talking about the game. The one bit that was about adding in more elements that would interact with the narrative, and I would say that they've done that, but it's not been 100% successful. But it's we noticed it. It's a mechanism that you could refine to turn it into a way that the game and story engine interact. Did they have any other feedback? Oops.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's everything they wrote down.
So, a pass would be feedback was addressed, but the changes have had limited success. Poor would be feedback was not addressed well, although some other positive changes have been made. I would say that the one thing that they've done with the coins is perhaps at the pass level, but it's the only one example, and it'd be So did they? So they haven't really reported on any other feedback at all, have they? That was literally it.
Yeah, pretty much. The main feedback was to introduce more in-game world features to impact the narrative.
Okay, so maybe we're sort of halfway between a poor and a pass again. Game over. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, kind of an odd game really. I just sort of very very bare bones narrative. I think you could easily argue that there's no narrative in this game at all, right? That you're making mechanical choices about your companions, a bit like in a normal, in a non-narrative game. If you went into a shop to upgrade your ship or something in a cockpit shooter or something, or a vertical shooter, and it's like, yeah, I'll have that power up over that power up. There's no narrative reason to do any of those things. Yes, there's a little bit of interaction here. The power ups are talking to one another. But very little going on. Yeah. And you're not given those options. You're basically said, well, do you want to recruit this person or not? So there's no reason not to recruit them. So I think the whole narrative framing is problematic and isn't deep enough. And they really need to do a little bit more to make their choices meaningful and kind of interesting. Sort of choosing between things or having some kind of moral conflict about taking on the fire mage, for example, when he's doing something awful, right? And they hint at it, but the game doesn't quite deliver it, I think.
Yeah, sadly.
Okay, I think that's the last one for this video. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again in another video.